Buenos días, familia de Español 4. Espero que todo les vaya bien y que todos estén listos para otro día de aprender. And hopefully this morning you woke up more prepared for the day than Santiago. All right, well, let's get started and talk about today's e-learning and get ready for what we're going to work through today. Today, once you get a chance to see this video, we're going to work on some vocabulary, work on a little bit of speaking, and then dive into Patagonia today. So first thing to do to get started, we're going to work through activity 6 on sheet 56. So that's a sheet that I gave you on Tuesday. You should all have a hard copy of that, but if not, if you were gone on Tuesday, you can download it here. We've completed everything so far except activity 6. So here are our circumlocutions. We're going to find the word that corresponds to that definition. That should take you 4 or 5 minutes. Once you finish up with that, you can check the answers here. But again, please complete it first before you look into the answers. Once you finish with the vocabulary, we're going to log into your Conjuguemos account, and you'll see there's an assignment there waiting for you. The assignment is labeled Spanish 4 Enfoque 5 El Tiempo Libre, Los Sustantivos. That activity requires you to work through, it's the guided practice, so we'll complete 50 cards with 90% accuracy like we've done several times this year with various vocabulary lists. Once you finish, please submit that to Senor via Conjuguemos and make sure you log in like always, and we'll use that to wrap up our vocabulary work today. Once you finish that, we've been working with direct object pronouns for the last 2 or 3 days. We're going to do a short activity today that actually is a speaking assessment. I have 4 questions for you, and you're going to respond to those questions in the shortest way possible. So let me open the speaking assessment, and I'll walk through it with you. Once you open the assessment, I'm going to go into preview mode here so that you'll see the same thing. It says respond to each question in the shortest way possible. Each of your responses should contain a direct object pronoun. So there are just 4 questions. The rubric for this is here. This will be due by midnight tonight, Thursday, February 3rd. What we're looking for is, do you use the correct direct object pronoun, and do you place it in the correct spot? We're also looking for accuracy and grammar, so that way you have the appropriate verb tense and noun-adjective agreement when that's necessary. And finally, as always, pronunciation is important, so we want to make sure you have good pronunciation on here. You're going to see on this assessment there are 4 questions. Each question is worth 9 rubric points. To determine your final score, you'll simply add up the score you get on each of the questions and divide by 4. So for example, if you earn an 8 on the first question, a 9 on the second question, a 9 on the third question, and a 7 on the fourth question, we'll add those up to a 33. We'll divide by 4, and that's the grade that will go in Power School, 8.25 out of 9, which would be a 92%, which would be a nice A- for this speaking assessment. So we've done speaking assessments like this all year, so here are the directions that we've been using since August, just to remind you how to submit your video responses to the questions you're going to hear. So those directions are all here. Let me show you a model so you kind of know how this is going to work. So the first thing you'll hear is a question from Senor, and here's that question.
Número 1. ¿Tienes que comprar zapatos mañana?
So you just hear the question, ¿Tienes que comprar zapatos mañana? And then you're going to record your response to that in the shortest way possible. So I go ahead and answer this question to give you an idea.
Sí, tengo que comprarlos. O otra posibilidad, sí, los tengo que comprar.
So the question again, ¿Tienes que comprar los zapatos? Instead of saying, sí, tengo que comprar los zapatos, we're going to answer in the shortest way possible with the pronoun, sí, tengo que comprarlos. So the question is here. There are 4 questions. Question 1 is, just click play to hear the question. You'll record your response in the box below. And to do that, again, the directions are up here, but it's the same way we've done it all year. So question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4. So there are 4 questions. The assignment shouldn't take you very long. Just make sure you give your videos time to process. Make sure you have a good internet connection before you submit those. So that'll be our speaking assessment to submit by midnight tonight. And once we have that done, our last task of the day is we're going to dive back into Argentina, but today we're going to work on Patagonia. So on Tuesday, I gave you all a copy of this handout at the end of the day, not knowing if we'd get to it or not, depending on the weather. It looks like we are going to be home today again, so we are going to start working on this investigación. So Senor passed the sheet out. You're going to use Google to complete both sides of this web quest. And note this part, we're going to hand this in the day we return to Homestead. So if we're back in classes on Friday, we'll hand it in on Friday. If we're back on Monday, we'll hand it in on Monday. But you will want to work through this today, because what we do tomorrow tomorrow will be connected to this. So let me pull it up. You also have a hard copy of it. Again, if you're gone on Tuesday, you can just write your answers on this Google Doc and share it with me, but go ahead and use your hard copy because it's sometimes easier to write on paper with something like this. So here's the investigación. Busca información de Patagonia en Google y Google Images. ¿Qué es? ¿Dónde está? Escribe observaciones aquí. And then we have 4 boxes like we worked on last week with a different investigación. We're going to look up today El Chaltén, El Glaciar Perito Moreno, Parque Nacional Torres del Paine, y Las Cataratas del Iguazú. So there are 4 places to look into. What are 2 or 3 things you take away from that? And the backside of this simply has pictures of 6 places that we're going to study in our study of Patagonia. We're going to label each of those places based off the correct name. So for example, one of them says El Chaltén. That's probably the most obvious one to find because the welcome sign says El Chaltén, but we're going to label those pictures. So investigación shouldn't take you too long, and that'll be our e-learning for today. So if you have any questions, please email me. I'll be glad to get back to you as soon as I can and help you with anything. Our e-learning work is due by midnight tonight, and then we have some diarios due on Friday. Again, we'll hand those diarios in once we come back to school. So have a great day, and hopefully you are outside doing something in the snow like Santiago. So look forward to seeing you guys all as soon as we get back. If you have any questions, let me know. Que tengan un día maravilloso. Hasta luego.